Prince William could strip Prince Andrew and Prince Harry from the royal family, and that plans are now being put in place as to how exactly he would do so.
Picture it. Harry hears that William is planning to push Parliament, push the palace, push the whole institution to strip titles and cut ties. In Harry's mind, William is overreaching. He's acting like a king before he wears the crown. These talks are real. If William is testing the waters, Harry won't take it quietly. He will fire back. He will call it a power play, a public humiliation, and a slap at his family. And if you know Harry, you know the response would be emotional. He would talk about his kids first. He would say, "Don't drag Archie and Lily into your palace politics." He would say that Meghan has been treated unfairly from the start. He would say William is trying to make an example out of them to scare everyone else into silence. He would call the plan cruel. He would call it petty. He would say, "We left to live in peace, and still you chase us." Whether you agree or not, that is the kind of fury people expect from Harry if this rumor keeps growing. And tonight we're going to break down why this rumor even exists, what William can and cannot do, and how this story could reshape the royal family for years. Let's set the table. The claim floating around is simple: that Prince William, as the future king, wants a clean slate. That means pressure on his father, King Charles, to deal with the biggest reputational problems now, not later. The two names at the center? Prince Andrew and Prince Harry, by extension Meghan. The spark for this latest round was a high-profile newspaper piece asking a hard question. Can Parliament with palace backing remove a dukedom and even the style prince? The article didn't say it would happen tomorrow. Said the mechanism exists. Said the palace seems to be testing the public mood. That alone is a bomb. Why would William even consider this? 2 words: the crown. William has grown up in the glare of modern media. He knows one scandal can drown out 100 good deeds. In a world of 10-second clips and viral headlines, he believes the royal brand must be tight, clear, and calm. He does not want to start his reign with a cloud of unfinished drama. From his point of view, the crown must be larger than family fights. And he believes the way to protect it is simple: draw firm lines. So let's talk about Andrew first. Andrew's problems are not new. His link to Jeffrey Epstein destroyed his public standing. That notorious TV interview ended his working life as a royal. He lost military roles. He lost public duties. He became a symbol of bad judgment. For many in Britain, the Andrew story is not a debate. It is a closed case. They do not want him on the balcony. They do not want him at the center of anything. If you ask them whether more should be done, many will say yes. Now bring in Harry and Meghan. Their story is different. They chose to step back in 2020. They moved to America. They told their side in interviews and a memoir. They said the institution failed them. They said the press hounded them. Many people outside Britain felt sympathy. Many inside Britain felt anger. The divide has only grown. Since then, the couple stopped using HRH in public, but the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex remain. Their children became Prince and Princess when Charles became king. On paper, it all fits the rules. In public, it fuels debate every time a new headline hits. So what exactly could William do? Here is the boring truth behind the drama. Stripping a dukedom or removing the style of prince is not like flipping a switch. It usually needs Parliament. It needs the king's assent. It needs palace support behind the scenes. It would be complicated. It would be loud. It would dominate the news for weeks. And the palace hates loud. That is why some people think the Telegraph story was a temperature check. Float the idea. Watch the reaction. Decide later. But don't miss this, there are other tools. King can restrict invitations. He can shrink the working roster. He can limit military roles, charity patronages, and appearances. He can set rules for how titles are used in official spaces. He can do a lot without touching the legal core. And that may be the road they take with Andrew, Harry, and Meghan. Quiet limits, firm boundaries, public distance, private warnings. No fireworks unless they think the public will back them. Where does King Charles fit in? Right in the middle. Charles has tried a gentler line. With Andrew, he pulled him off the stage but stopped short of the final cut. With Harry, he kept the door open a crack. He wants peace. He wants duty without drama. But that careful balance brings a new problem: time. People whisper that the next reign could come sooner than we think. No one says it out loud, but the planning never stops. That is why some observers say we are watching a joint moment. Charles studying the ship, William shaping the future. If you step back, you see the shape of a plan. First, finish the Andrew chapter. No public role, no special honors back. Possibly a new home arrangement. Possibly a slow exit from royal estates. Second, set firm Sussex lines. No official usage. No role in state events. No halfway status. Third, reframe the institution. Fewer working royals. Clear duties. Clear rules. Less space for headlines that distract from service and charity. That is the clean slate idea people say William wants. But let's be honest, none of this is simple, because we are not talking about staff. We are talking about family, brother, an uncle, children. Every move has a human cost. Every line has a face. That is why the opening of this video matters. If William pushes, Harry will respond. He will say, "You are not the king." He will say, "This is a vendetta." He will point to personal pain. He will point to old wounds. And that would light up the world again. Now, some of you will ask, are Andrew and Harry really the same? No. One case centers on a disgraced friendship and a terrible judgment call. The other centers on a young family who chose to leave and then spoke out. But public stories can blur. Both are spares. Both have angered the palace. Both have damaged the brand in the eyes of many. That is the link. And that is why their names appear together in these planning rumors. Let's walk the timeline that got us here. Andrew's fall began years ago. He clung to a bad friendship. He gave a TV interview that made things worse. The late Queen pulled him off public duties. Doors closed. Trust ended. Then the focus turned to where he lives and what he still holds. People asked, why is he still a duke? Why is he still a prince? Those questions never went away. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan broke the mold. They left. They went on TV. They shared private pain. They exposed family cracks on a global stage. They signed media deals and stayed famous on their own. For their supporters, that was freedom. For their critics, that was betrayal. And for the palace, it was chaos. Every new clip reignited the debate. Every memoir line opened a fresh wound. Now add the Daily Telegraph spark. A sober paper, not a tabloid, raises the question of removing titles through Parliament. It explains the mechanism. It explains the need for palace support. It notes that this would be giant news. And it hints, just hints, that the palace might back it if the storm is manageable. That is all it took. The fuse was lit. So what happens if William actually tries? First, expect lawyers. Expect historians. Expect debates in the House of Commons about law and precedent. This would not be a backroom decision. Second, expect a media fearstorm. Every detail would get picked apart. Was this about justice or revenge? Was it about image or duty? Third, expect a family crisis. Calls, statements, maybe a TV interview, maybe a book chapter. You know the pattern by now. But also expect this. Many people in Britain would support a firm line on Andrew. That part is clear. Support for tough action on the Sussexes is more mixed. Some want it. Some think it goes too far. Many just want the fighting to stop. They want quiet. They want tradition done with dignity. They want the crown to feel steady again. Let's talk about Meghan for a moment. Meghan is not a blood royal. Her title comes through marriage. She gave up HRH usage with Harry when they stepped back. She is still the Duchess of Sussex, and that is legal. Some people want that title gone. They say she uses it for celebrity gain. Others say stripping her alone would look ugly. It would look targeted. It would fuel claims of bias. That is why any real move on Meghan would likely happen only if there was a larger package. Something that also covers Andrew and possibly reforms how titles work for all non-working royals. A big, even-handed change, not a one-off hit. What about Archie and Lilibet? They became prince and princess when Charles became king. That follows standard rules. Could that change one day? In theory, yes, if a future monarch issues new letters patent or if Parliament changes the law. But imagine the optics of stripping little kids of status. That would land like a hammer. Palace is cautious. The smarter play, if they want distance, is to let the children grow up abroad and use those titles lightly, or not at all by choice. That keeps the peace without a public fight. Now, what does "you're not the king" really mean in this story? It is not just a shout. It is a question about timing and authority. William is the heir. He does not sign laws yet, but he is already shaping the mood. He meets with advisors. He studies the public. He sets expectations for the future. That can feel like power to the people who disagree with him. To Harry, it can feel like William is running ahead and putting his stamp on their lives without a crown on his head. That fuels the clash of brothers more than any legal memo ever could. Let's imagine 3 paths from here. Path 1, quiet reset. No big legal moves. Andrew remains out of sight. He loses more privileges quietly. William and Charles align on a slimmed-down team. The Sussexes keep their titles but stay separate. Boundaries are enforced. The noise slowly fades. This is the low-drama path. It is likely. Path 2, targeted housekeeping. Andrew faces a formal step, perhaps a move on his dukedom through Parliament, framed as a one-time act tied to his specific case. For the Sussexes, a formal restatement, no church usage, no official duties, no gray areas. A tough statement, not a legal strike. This path is bolder, still manageable. Path 3, full title fight. A bill is brought to the House to remove a dukedom and redefine who can be called prince or princess when they are not working royals. The palace backs it. The government backs it. The debate goes global. Harry answers. Meghan answers. The family fractures in public. This is the dramatic path. It is possible but risky for the crown. Which path protects tradition best? That depends on what you think the crown is. If you think the crown is ceremony and charity and calm, then path 1 looks wise. If you think the crown is law, order, and example, path 2 looks right. If you think the crown must break with the past to survive, you may even favor path 3. But remember, every action has a reaction. And in a family this famous, that reaction will be loud. Now, let's look at the deeper heartbeat here, duty versus blood. The Windsors have always battled this. Do you protect the institution first or your kin? Queen Elizabeth was famous for putting duty first and feelings second. William seems to share that view. Harry, by contrast, has chosen feelings first. His feelings, his wife's feelings, his children's well-being. That is not a crime. It is a different creed. And when 2 creeds collide, there is no easy handshake in the middle. There is also the public to consider. The British public is not one voice. It is millions of voices. Many love William and Catherine. Many still respect Charles. Many are tired of Andrew's name. Many feel hurt by Harry's words. But many also want peace. They want the balcony scene without a cloud. They want the Christmas speech without a shadow. That desire for calm is William's best ally if he chooses hard steps. People believe he is acting to bring quiet and clarity, they will accept it. If they think he is acting to punish a brother, they will not. So where does this leave Harry? He is not powerless. He has his platform. He has his audience. He has his story. If he feels attacked, he will tell it. He will talk about the boy who lost his mother, the man who never fit inside the gold frame, the husband who left to keep his wife from breaking. That story moves hearts. It will win attention. It will bring him support. But it also deepens the trench. It makes it harder to come home someday if he ever wants to. And Meghan? She is a lightning rod. To some, she is a breath of fresh air. To others, she is a storm. In any title debate, she becomes the symbol. Palace knows that. If there is any formal move, they will try hard not to make it about Meghan. They will frame it as a broad rule, a sober reform, a move toward clarity. Whether the world believes that is a different question. Let's end with the picture we started with. Harry angry saying, "You're not the king." William calm answering, "I am protecting the crown." 2 brothers, 2 roles, 2 visions of the same family. Truth is, both men are acting out of belief. Harry believes family comes first. William believes the crown must endure. In another life, those beliefs could live side by side. In this life, under this spotlight, they clash. So what do I think will happen? I think we see the quiet reset first. Andrew stays out. No big legal fireworks. The Sussex situation stays defined by firm lines, not new laws. And then, over time, if the public still demands more, if the noise does not fade, the palace may test a bolder step. Likely with Andrew, not with Harry or Meghan. That is the least explosive sequence. That is the way you defend tradition with the least risk. But hear this. If anyone tries a full title fight, the first sound you will hear will not be a bell in Parliament. It will be a voice from across the ocean, angry and hurt, saying, "You're not the king." And the next sound will be another voice, steady and cold, saying, "The crown comes first." Between those 2 sounds, history moves. You and I will be here to watch it. We will read every line. We will separate rumor from fact. We will keep our eyes on the one thing that matters most in the end, whether the monarchy serves the people with dignity, fairness, and calm. If it does, it will stand. If it doesn't, no title on earth can save it. Until then, remember this: families fight. Kingdoms endure when leaders keep their heads. Prince William chooses wisdom over wrath. And if Prince Harry chooses grace over rage, there is still a path back to peace. It won't be easy. It won't be fast. But it is possible. And if that day comes, if we see those brothers on the same balcony, not as rivals but as men who made peace with the past, Britain will breathe again. For now, the palace is quiet, press is loud, public is waiting, and somewhere behind closed doors, plans are being drawn on clean white paper. The ink is not dry. The story is still being written, and we are living through a chapter that will be studied for years. How a future king handled his family and how a prince answered back. If you found this deep dive helpful, let me know your take. Should William press for a full reset, or should he leave the titles alone and let time do the work? And if you were in Harry's shoes, what would you say? You're not the king, or let's talk? But before we close the book tonight, let's look inside the room where these choices get made. Picture a quiet office at Clarence House. Heavy doors, thick carpet, no press, no cameras. A small group sits with folders in their laps. They don't argue, they measure. A private secretary asks one boring question that changes everything. If we do this, what happens the next day? That is the test they use for every move. Not the headlines that night, the morning after, the week after, the year after. 'Cause a king does not live in one news cycle. King lives in time. Now picture Harry on another coast. Early morning light, cup of coffee going cold, a phone buzzing with messages, friends checking in, lawyers sending drafts, a PR person asking if he wants to respond now or wait. He stares out a window and thinks about his mother. He hears the noise in his head. They'll never stop, he tells himself. They'll never stop until I stop them. And then he remembers his own words about choice, about peace, about being a better father than he ever had the chance to see. Which voice wins? On some days, the fire. On others, the calm. That's the struggle we don't see. Let's walk through the how one more time in plain words. To change titles, you need more than anger. You need process. First, quiet talks in the palace. Second, talks with government. Third, careful language from lawyers. Fourth, a draft bill if they go that far. Fifth, debate in Parliament. Sixth, the King's assent. Any wobble at any stage and the whole plan stalls. That is why testing the waters matters. The public mood is ice cold, you do nothing. The public mood is hot, you still move slow. The crown does not sprint, it glides. There's another piece people forget. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is not loud. She is steady. She knows that trust takes years to build and only seconds to lose. In private, her advice is said to be simple. Reduce the drama, raise the standard, keep the work front and center. That line of thinking favors the quiet reset path. It is not weak. It is disciplined. It says, let our example do the talking. If William leans that way, you'll see more school visits, hospital visits, military events, and fewer family headlines. That's not an accident. That's a plan. What about public mood outside Britain? In America, in Canada, in Australia, people see this story through a different lens. Many admire Harry for leaving a system they don't understand. Many admire Meghan for speaking up in a way they value. The palace makes a harsh move that audience might turn. They might call it petty. They might call it cruel. And yes, that matters. The monarchy's soft power lives in feelings as much as in law. Tourists don't line up for grudges. They line up for pageantry and grace. There is a way to respect both sides. Starts with clear rules. Set who is a working royal and who is not. Set what titles mean in public life and in private life. Set how charities are supported and how they are not. Stick to it. Treat everyone the same. If a rule is good, it works even when it hurts the people you like. That's what fair means. When people see fairness, they calm down. The noise fades. The work shines. Let's be brave and imagine a true reconciliation. Not a photo op, a real one. What would it take? First, a private talk with no leaks. Not 5 minutes. 5 hours. Second, an agreement to stop the public shots. No books. No interviews. No sources say. Third, a shared note to the press. We disagree on some things. We will handle them in private. We wish each other well. 4th time. Not days, years. 5th, milestones where trust can grow. Birthdays, remembrance events, small family things no camera ever sees. Will that happen? I don't know. But I do know this. Every bridge begins with a first plank. And the first plank is silence. Now, for a moment, let's turn the camera on us, on viewers, on fans, on critics. We feed these fires. We click. We share. We cheer our side like a team. That's human. But it also traps the people in the story. If we reward anger with views, we will get more anger. If we reward grace with views, we will get more grace. The monarchy is not a show, but it lives in a show world. What we choose to watch changes what they choose to do. Still, the crown must lead, not follow. If William wants a strong start, he can begin with a promise. Service first. Family private. Rules clear. Then he must live it. No special deals. No back-channel briefings. No 2 sets of standards. That will sting. It will also heal. Institutions heal when their lines are clear and their hearts are open. Sounds simple. It is not. But it is possible. People ask me, if you were in William's ear, what would you say? I'd say, hold your fire. Fix the roof. Sweep the floor. Lock the doors at night. But don't burn the house. I'd say, let Andrew fade. Let Harry cool. Do not make law in the heat. I'd say, when you wear the crown, wear it for everyone, even the ones who hurt you. That is the old wisdom. It has saved kings before. Can save one again. People also ask, if you were in Harry's ear? I'd say, choose the quiet win. Build your work. Raise your kids in peace. Save your words for things that change lives. I'd say, the loudest thing you can do now is to be calm. I'd say, one day you will want your children to walk into any room in Britain and feel welcome. Make choices today that make that day easier. That's not surrender. That's strategy. Let's zoom in on Andrew for the last time. There is a lesson there for everyone. Power without judgment ends in shame. It doesn't matter if you wear a uniform or a crown. If you make bad calls and never own them, the door will close. Public may forgive a mistake. They rarely forgive pride. If Andrew had bowed his head early, if he had put humility before defense, his ending might look different. That is a hard truth. It is also a gift to those who come after him. A red line painted bright on the road. Some of you will say, this is all theater. Maybe, but theater teaches. Teaches what a country values. Teaches what a family stands for. Teaches what a leader will and will not do. In that sense, the Windsor story is not gossip. It is a civic lesson dressed in gold and velvet. It asks us, what matters more, love or law? Mercy or rules? Image or duty? The answer is not pick one. The answer is balance. The crown survives when it balances. So here is my forecast, clear and simple. The next 12 months will look calm in public and busy in private. You will not see a bill tomorrow. You will see signals, fewer appearances, tighter guest lists, stronger language about who represents the crown and who does not. You might see a firm note about HRH usage set in stone for everyone. You will hear nothing official about children's titles because children should not carry grown-up fights. And you will notice something else, more work, more duty, more service stories filling the space where drama used to live. If that happens, watch the mood. Donations go up for royal charities, if crowds grow at royal events, if the noise on social fades by a few decibels, then the quiet reset will be working. If not, if the scandals keep pulling focus, then the palace may test a sharper tool. And if they do, it will start with Andrew. Not out of spite, out of sequence. His case is simpler. His public support is gone. The risk is lower. That is how institutions move. From the easy case to the hard case, step by measured step. And if the hard case ever comes, if the crown ever points its power at Harry and Meghan, remember what we said about the morning after. The morning after a win can feel like a loss if it divides the country and darkens the crown. The morning after a restraint can feel like a win if it calms the wind and lights the work. Kings must think like that. Brothers can think like that too. So Harry, if you're listening somewhere out there, here is a line you could try that is stronger than "you're not the king." Try this, "You're my brother. Let's fix this the right way." And William, if you're listening, here is a line to match it. "You're my brother. The crown comes first, but my door is open." 2 lines, 2 choices, 2 chances to write a kinder chapter than the one we expect. Maybe that's naive. Maybe the train has left the station. Maybe hurt runs too deep. but I've watched enough history to know this. Families that serve together last longer than families that fight forever. The British monarchy has survived wars, fires, abdications, divorces, and worse. Can survive this if wisdom wins. So, where do you stand tonight? Do you want the full title fight with laws and votes and microphones? Or do you want the quiet fix with rules and patience and time? Tell me in the comments below. Be honest, be fair, and be kind. Real people are in this story, even when the cameras are off. Until next time, keep your eyes on actions, not rumors. Watch for calm, not heat. And remember, power is loud, but dignity is louder. If the crown chooses dignity, and if the prince chooses grace, the rest of us may finally get what we've wanted all along. A royal family that does its work, a country that feels proud, and a future where two brothers can stand a few feet apart and not feel like the whole world sits between them. That's the hope, that's the path, and that's where we'll leave it tonight.